We've had so many comments on this channel that the only thing that matters to you guys is sound and nothing else. Well, here you are. Edifier has thrown the kitchen sink at the NeoBuds Planar in terms of sound. So is it enough?
Namaste, we're DHRME, Dutch homies reviewing many earbuds.
That's us.
Another Edifier. Let's go. All right, let me rattle off some facts about these earbuds.
Rattle away.
Before we get into the meat, the hardcore meat of this review. Battery advertised, 5 hours. Just 5 hours, but we tested it and we got almost an extra hour on top of that.
Oh wow.
5 hours, 56 minutes. That was with ANC on, yep, and the aptX codec. There's a wear sensor. So it'll automatically pause your audio if you take it out. There is multi-point, so you can stay connected to two devices at the same time. There is wireless charging. There is an app, the Edifier Connects app. There is a game mode for low latency. The earbuds case has this cool ass Night Rider light, which has been there since the first NeoBuds, and I love it. And it's also nice that you can go into that app and change the color of that light to make it look more like Night Rider, if you're into it. But anyway, there's that. The buds themselves are IP54 dust and water resistant.
Yeah.
Not the case, just the buds. You get a little protective pouch that we have come to expect from the NeoBuds series and some of the other products, Edifier products, which is nice. There's also 5 sizes of silicone tips included in the box. So all the way from extra small to, what is it, extra large?
Yeah. Only silicone, no foam.
Correct. Yeah. And they are round tips, but we'll get to that right now in the comfort section.
Right. So if you know us, we have a view about round tips, which is that they are very secure in the ear.
Yep.
But they are less comfortable than oval-shaped tips. Yeah. So they press up a bit more against the wall of your ears, and nothing different here. So if you're okay with round tips, if you've done that before, you know what you're expecting. But for us, it was a good fit, quite secure. We would not say they're the most comfortable. They're like medium comfort. They're not uncomfortable. But after a while, that starts compounding.
I agree. I had the same experience. So, yeah.
All right, let's talk about performance.
Yeah.
We talked some facts. We talked some basic comfort stuff.
Get some meaty stuff in there.
Yeah. ANC and Transparency.
ANC and Transparency. Not the buds that are extraordinary in this department. I'm not saying they're trash. So for ANC, they are tier B.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have S, A, and B. So we usually say any of those are generally passable for decent ANC. These are that.
Yeah.
They're not the best, but okay. So your average ANC still lets in quite a bit of the low end and mids like the voices, but it did better than the One More Evo, for example, meaning these Edifiers are clearly in tier B. The Tozo Golden X1 is also tier B, but it does better at the low end. Now, Transparency is a tier lower though, at tier C. There is a bit of occlusion and the transparency isn't fantastic. It lets in environmental noise, so it's just fine for general awareness. The voices are true to the real sound and sound somewhat processed. Fine in a pinch, but nothing to write home about. What about wind noise cancelling? You biked over here, right?
I biked over here. Listen to me biking over here.
So I'm biking right now and have the wind noise reduction mode on, and it does a pretty good job. I can hear things around me as well as my audio, so good stuff.
All right, back to the superficial.
Yes, we're back to superficial, but important because the case itself, I think Edifier has had this case designed for a while now. I think they introduced it on NeoBuds S, I think, I'm not sure. But it is still a thick boy. If you compare this to the AirPods Pro, maybe this is like twice the thickness, girth of it, but it's a bit of a thick boy.
It's small but chunky.
Small but chunky, exactly. Let me cut out everything before this. But that's the buds. We talked about the lights on it. The
design-wise, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know, man. They're okay.
I feel like NeoBuds from the beginning have had this like gamer vibe. To it.
It's the gamer vibe, but in monochrome. At least the buds are. They don't stick out too much from your ears either. But the angles and stuff, I do get what you're saying.
Yeah.
The gamer vibe is in the case, of course, with the RGB lights that you can customize. But yeah, they look fine. They don't look, at least they don't look like a copycat brand, you know?
That is true.
They're not like an
I can spot these from a mile away. I know that person's wearing NeoBuds. So that's pretty cool.
They're serious about
they're serious about sound.
Okay.
Yeah. And stem cell design pinch controls.
Yes.
So that's kind of the trend these days. Everyone's trying to build in pinch or squeeze, if you like. You do have to squeeze a little bit lower down on the stem is what I've noticed.
This one, right? This part, this divot.
There's that divot indeed. The divot isn't as pronounced as on some of the other buds.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this, right? About how good is the squeeze. I felt it was a bit weak sauce in terms of...
You're talking about how good is the squeeze. Yeah, that's what we talk about. Yeah.
That's what we do. It isn't as refined as, for example, the AirPods Pro or stuff from Huawei.
Yeah.
It's more in the class of, what did I say it was?
Samsung, you said.
Yeah, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. I actually do not like the squeeze on that.
I like squeezing them.
Yeah, I mean, you can like squeezing them, but how good are they? Like,
Okay.
how responsive? A nice thing about Edifier is that they allow you to customize the squeeze controls in the app, so in the Edifier Connects app, and you can customize what the double press, the triple press, and the press and hold do.
Yeah.
So that's always good to see, right? You're not stuck to a control scheme that Edifier deems
Yeah.
to be the best.
And then you have, of course, the one thing that they do let you do with the squeezing is adjust how sensitive
Yeah.
that squeezing is.
What do you feel about that?
So you can go from like low to high. What did I feel about that? That's a very good question. It's not really doing much.
It's not doing a whole lot, no.
No. So it would be nice actually to
Yep.
be able to customize that. But we've had that before, even with touch controls, they did that tap sensitivity.
Yeah.
It doesn't do much. One downside about the controls I will say is sometimes, and not always, when music stopped playing, the volume control stopped working. So it was a bit off, but
Yeah.
every time music was playing, it worked.
Okay.
So you've seen this before with other buds as well, so that's something to keep in mind.
Right.
But those are the controls. They also have a bunch of extra features because they are priced at $200, guys. So
Yeah.
they can't afford to.
Like I mentioned right at the start, there is a wear sensor and you can even customize that, so you can
Yeah.
go further and say, okay, do you want it to resume audio once you put it back in your ear or not?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. The multi-point, you had an interesting observation on
They
that.
have multi-point,
Yeah.
and in the app they say if you use an HD audio codec,
Yeah.
you are not going to be able to use multi-point. But I was able to because I think that applies to two devices having either LDAC or LHDC. So these support a bunch of codecs. We'll come to that in sound. But with LDAC and LHDC, you can have one device on LDAC and the other on aptX. Works fine.
Pretty cool.
So that's a discovery I made.
Yeah.
But maybe Edifier needs to be clearer about that in the app. But multi-point worked. Pause on one, play on the other, worked fine.
Yeah.
However, no device list in the app. No. Bit of a shame. And the app itself, you can only use on one device if you're connected to two.
Okay.
The other one opens the app, but nothing happens.
Oh.
So that was kind of weird.
Right.
And they have Google Fast Pair.
Yes.
Which is a lifesaver if you're using Android. to be
Yes.
honest. So
Okay, then phone calls. Before we say how it sounds, listen to it for yourself. And this is a mic test outdoors with cars in the background for the Edifier NeoBuds Planar. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. And now softly as more cars are approaching. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, this is a windy mic test on the Edifier Planar with wind on this meter. Here we go. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. Pop, pop, popsicle, ice, ice, icicle, test, test, testing. 1, 2, 3. So the call quality, let's say my voice was audible and you barely heard the cars. What you did hear was that there was processing to my voice. So it didn't sound very natural.
okay.
Right? But what I was impressed about was how well it did in the wind. And the wind was not a light breeze either, right?
Yeah.
It was like above 4 meters squared, as you probably saw on the wind meter in the sample.
4 meters per second.
4 meters per second. What did I say?
4 meters squared.
Okay, there we go.
You're multiplying stuff.
Yeah. Intense wind. Okay. Anyway, did impressively well at cancelling out the wind. Yeah, there was still that processing to the voice, but decent. In terms of Fuckman controls, you can only answer hang up and you can change the volume. There's no special things like, muting, etc.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. That's the sound of your voice. What about the sound of the sound?
Yeah.
How do these sound?
Well, like you said, a bunch of high-res codecs, obviously, as you've come to expect from Edifier. You've got LDAC, aptX, you've got LHDC, and that is it?
Snapdragon sound.
Snapdragon
Basically,
sound, yeah.
All the aptX
Yeah,
suite
yeah.
of codecs.
And they come with 12 millimeter planar magnetic drivers. Impressive setup.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, great tuning. I like how these sound, really. I totally enjoyed how these sound. You can see the tuning. The bass is not bloated like a lot of other buds. They're kind of following the Harman on the bass side. There's a dip after a certain amount of bass. Mids sound great. I like that it's pretty restrained. The treble is also very restrained. I'd like to probably see a boost in the 2-3K region. That was kind of de-emphasized. I would like to see that a bit boosted. But you can EQ that.
Hey.
And pretty effectively too. They have a parametric EQ in the app with some really irritating limitations, which we'll come to. Overall, very nice sounding. The 3 EQ presets are great. Original, dynamic, and electrostatic. Electrostatic is like very flat, not much bass. I really like electrostatic. But there are some downsides also in terms of sound.
Okay.
And that is the first one I talked about was the EQ. The parametric EQ, you can't EQ anything above 6 kilohertz. It just stops there for some reason. So you have 4 bands you can choose, and one of them is the 6 kilohertz band. Sure, you can change the Q factor and kind of affect the other EQs, but I couldn't sharpen out I couldn't remove the sharpness at 8 kilohertz. That was quite annoying. Bass is planar bass, so it's not going to be super punchy like a dynamic, but it was punchy enough for me. But if you really want that punchy dynamic bass, you're not going to get it. Dynamic driver style bass rather. And volume was, this is one of the first buds, Kevin, that I've been listening to that I could go up to max volume. I would still say it is, it's not that loud.
Oh.
So that happened on a couple of tracks. I was shocked. I was really shocked. First I thought, okay, 50%, 60, 70, 80, 100.
How?
I don't know. Either I've gone deaf or it was.
Or is it the planar magnetic drivers?
And I thought maybe it is LDAC.
Oh,
so
okay.
let me switch to aptX.
Same
exact same thing.
Okay. Did you ever feel like they were not going loud enough?
I think
Or you just
like
turned on
they hit
ANC?
for me like maybe if I wanted to listen to music really loud, I think they hit 90% for me at max volume. So
Good to keep in mind. We always talk about buds that go really loud, but if this is not loud enough, I mean, that might be a thing.
and I started digging around in the app to see if there's some safe hearing, volume limiting, nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
So maybe something that comes with an update, but if you are a volume junkie, this might be a problem, but for me, it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah. All right, it sounds great.
Okay.
Right?
So that's
If you're
good.
looking for real sound, all the codecs, some very unique things here. So at least that we can give the Edifier NeoBuds Planar.
But for $200,
It's $200.
some fierce competition.
There is some fierce competition, even at $100.
Yeah. I think they take a lot of boxes, in terms of fit, the battery is okay, IP54 rating,
Extras.
bunch of extras,
Yeah.
right? Multi-point, wear sensor, wireless charging, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the ANC isn't extraordinary. The calls are okay, right? Not the whole package here.
Not the whole package, yeah.
As opposed to,
Yeah, you could think about, like at this price, I think immediately about the Huawei FreeBuds Pro 4,
Yeah.
which is also a complete package, also has a multi-driver setup, but it takes a lot more boxes in terms of controls and,
Better
the
calls,
apps.
better
But it's
ANC.
not available everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's a downside on the Huawei. Overall, you have to really want the things that Edifier is offering here. At least I can say one thing about these buds is they do offer things not everybody else offers at this price point. I don't know many other $200 buds that have planar drivers in them or have this kind of sound in them.
Yep.
So they are bringing something unique to the table. So if you want an all-round, casual listening set of buds, these aren't it, guys, but you probably, if you're still here, that's not what you're looking for. So overall, I'm impressed. I'm finally happy about Edifier buds after a long time. So
It's been a while.
it's been a while. So
All right. Thanks, guys. That was it. We did get these buds from Edifier, but again, this is a review where we do not pull any punches, as you can see. Yeah.
is this how pulling punches works?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like after you hit something, you pull it back, you take it back or something. I don't know.
We would like to thank all of you guys for watching, for listening, for liking, for subscribing, and our great supporters at 4 different tiers, starting from the popsicles, the icicles, the tested tier members here, and
Our Fuckman tier, which is the highest tier, and a special thanks there goes out to Rachel, Rads Panda, and Paula. Thank you guys very, very much. You've been looking at some new NeoBuds.
we've been DHRME. Doi.
Doi.